Good evening. Would you like to stand for the pledge? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks to the veterans and their families tonight. No audio, is that what you're saying? We appreciate your service. Thank you, Chief, for being here tonight with some of your officers, Officer Russo, Officer Danger. Used to just using your initials, that's tough to think. Do we have any citizen input signed up tonight?
No one's asked for business.
Okay, thank you. First on the agenda for voting items is the ordinance O-21-03 for no parking rules ordinance. The long and the short of it is this gives the police department more authority. Someone is illegally parked, not only have a sign, but that they have the ability to ask them to move, and if they don't in such a time, then they can give them a citation. So at this time I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the parking ordinance.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve it.
Another second?
I'll second it.
And all those in favor? All those opposed? Those opposed. Second on the agenda is the City Council meetings and agenda procedure ordinance. This is O-21-02. We do have in the city, in the codes, an ordinance of this nature. However, this gives a little bit more clarity, more guidance, better transparency to the public, and also brings the city more in line with the open meetings of Georgia law. So it's really no surprises. It just gives a little better definition of what procedures need to be followed both by the public when addressing the council, as well as the council procedures for getting things onto the agenda and things of that nature. We're required by open meetings law not to post earlier than 2 weeks prior to a meeting and no less than 3 days prior to that meeting. So it kind of eliminates last minute. Now sometimes there will be emergencies and they can be handled as such, but it just brings more clarity and a little more transparency to this ordinance. So I would like to ask for a motion to approve ordinance O-21-02 at this time.
Mayor, I didn't bring this up at the last meeting for discussion. I have had a chance to talk with you about it earlier, but there's a couple of areas in this ordinance that I personally would like to have changed. And this is no reflection upon anybody in particular. I just think if we're going to put the ordinance in place to vote on it, then we should make sure that everybody is included in it, because we never know who will be setting up here, or you know, what may happen in the future. As it stands now, rules of procedure, under section 219, section C, you and I spoke, and I don't believe you have an issue with it, but I would like to add the mayor and city council into that section.
The reason that it is not, there is a whole section just covering the mayor in our ordinance. So that's why it read that way.
And then the other section is on page 7. And it is underneath number 2, agenda presentations by members of city council. It says the mayor shall include on the agenda any item requested by 2 city council members or by a majority of the city committee to be brought before the city council following the rules established in section. I personally like to see that changed to the mayor shall include on the agenda item any item requested by a singular city council member.
Where's this? Where page?
Page
Page 7,
2.
number 2, section A. And that's all I have.
No. So council, I'm gonna ask what the procedure would be.
The correct procedure would be if Councilman Venable wants those changes to be made, then it would be a motion to approve with the following amendments. Read those amendments, and that would be the official motion, and then we would need a second from council, and then the ordinance would be voted on as amended.
Sorry, bear with me.
Councilman Venable, I didn't get the first one, but the second one would be to amend section 2-19, subsection G, 2A, to read, and then you would need to say,
There's already a section that governs mayor and council vote. Then the only change that I would request would be section 2, subsection A.
yeah, G2A of 219 to say, the mayor shall include on any agenda item, on an agenda, any item requested by a city council member, or by a majority of the city council committee.
And what was the first one?
That's the only one I have.
So,
And that there was anybody that had any input on that.
so can I have a motion to approve with the amendment of requiring 1 city council member rather than 2 for a majority of city committee?
I'll make that motion to approve with the amendment that section 2, subsection A reads, the mayor shall include on the agenda any item requested by a city council member or by a majority of the city committee to be brought before the city council following the rules established with section G1A4 unless the request is withdrawn. Item must be placed on.
Do I have a second for that motion?
Mayor, I'll second the motion, although I don't support it. According to Robert's Rules of Order, I can second a motion just to bring it to a vote.
Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Okay. Third on the agenda for voting item, there are 3 variances that have been applied for, and they are for Abe Consulting, variance V-21-01, V-21-02, and V-21-03. There are a few conditions that were asked for and agreed to by Abe Consulting, and I'm going to ask for a motion on the V-21-01, and I believe it has a condition, does it not, Council Venable?
Yes, sir. Mayor, I make the motion to approve V-21-01 with conditions that the streets be accepted with no curb gutter, and that 2 bonds would be required. One is a general maintenance bond for roads, and the second would be a performance bond for golf carts and sidewalks. And the path and sidewalks will be completed with a 75% build out or 2 years from start, whichever is later.
I'll second.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion carried. On the second V-21-02, I believe there is a condition with that.
Yes.
And
Mayor, I make the motion to approve V-21-02 with the conditions that prior to final plat approval, the owner or the developer's civil engineer will determine the highest water elevation from flooding within the subdivision boundaries based on existing conditions, and such elevation shall be indicated by note or line on the final plat. Also, the dwelling shall be required to be constructed with a finished floor elevation that is a minimum of 2 feet above the highest water elevation from flooding shown on the final plat. And to obtain a certificate of occupancy, any dwelling in the subdivision will be required to demonstrate that the finished floor elevation complies with this requirement. A note to this effect shall be required on the final plat. And also, that any lot with a structure that will be required to be elevated per condition number 2 will require a compaction certification letter.
I'll second.
all those in favor? Okay, all those opposed? Motion carries. Excuse me, the third one on here is B-21-03. I believe that one does not carry any extra conditions.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve B-21-03.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. The next on the agenda for a voting item is a zoning request for Land Partners LLC. I'll give you a moment. This is Z-21-01, and this will rezone map parcels ST01/04, ST01/05, and ST01/006 from an SR1 suburban residential district to a light industrial district. This presently has a business operating there, and the owner is requesting to have it zoned according to what he understood he was purchasing, and to bring it more in line with the use that you presently are using it for. So I'm going to ask for a motion to accept the rezoning request.
Mayor, I'll make the motion to accept Z-21-01 rezone for Mr. David Johnson.
Do I have a second? Okay. And all those in favor? It's unanimous. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We also have on the agenda Bank of OCK account. At the advice of Counselor, we've been asked to table this to next month. Would that go to the work session?
Yes, the work session.
Okay. Somebody know the date for April?
April 8th.
April 8th.
8th? Okay, so can I have a motion to table the account to April 8th?
Motion to table until April 8th.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Okay. And I don't know if I was clear, but that is to check the legal aspect of being that the SPLOST fund is something that we have to be very careful of. Next on the agenda is a proclamation. The city was approached by the 811, by the Georgia 811, which is Call Before You Dig, and they have declared the month of April as Safe Digging Month, and they've asked the city if we would help get that message out for the safety of the public. And so I'm asking for the council to approve me to sign that proclamation and support the state for the Safe Digging Month of April.
Mayor, I'll make the motion, we take the proclamation for the month of April and declare April Safe Digging Month.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And all those in favor? And it is unanimous. Next on the agenda is, everyone hopefully had an opportunity to read through the minutes from the March 4th council work session. Is there any corrections, any exceptions, or questions?
There's one correction, I think, on the very end of the minutes where we adjourned, where council members Lyle and Thrasher did not cast a vote, and they just weren't seen. They did cast a vote in favor of adjourning.
Of course, I always wave my hand if I don't say anything. I'm sorry you didn't see it.
Thank you.
That's the only thing I see.
I will update it.
So I'll make a motion, we approve the March 4th work session minutes with the correction to the very end where we adjourned.
Okay. All those in favor?
Yes, I think you sent it.
And at that point, I'm gonna ask for, an adjournment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
You second.
All those in favor?
All of you are in favor, thank you.
I want to thank you all for coming tonight.